Fellow Toastmasters, when taking pictures, it's important to think about what is and what isn't in the scene. What's being revealed and what's being obscured. Many times, what's not in the final image is actually more important than what is, in my opinion. But what do you do when you can't go through and pick and choose what will and won't be in your picture? When you are unable, for logistical reasons, to obscure something or just leave it completely out of the scene? My answer? You donk up the lens. Donking up the lens, that's a trademark by the way, is my name for the hallowed tradition of taking something, anything at all, and putting it between the camera and your subject. Here I just have a little piece of green plastic. As you can see, I can very easily obscure some or all of the image just by holding it between the camera and myself. It can be a fun, a quick, and a dirty way to get interesting results in your shot. In the past, I've used leaves, I've used pieces of paper, bits of wood, anything at all, when placed between the lens of the camera and your subject, will have the effect of blurring or obscuring most or even all of the shot completely. One drawback to this approach, however, is that you definitely have your hands busy. You're holding your camera, you're holding this whatever you thing you have in front of the lens. In your other hand, you can't really move and adjust camera settings quickly. It can be kind of a pain when you're juggling so many things. You only have two hands, unfortunately. And that's where the new Lensbaby Omni Color camera system comes in. This is a product that I discovered on Amazon. I'd had my eye on it for a while and finally pulled the trigger about a month ago. And it's basically this. This is a metal ring that fits around the lens of your camera, and it has these little magnets that can slide around inside the ring. Then you have these arms with other magnets on them and a sort of wand device in this case right there that's made out of crystal, so all kinds of reflections, that just pops right on and is held in place by the magnets. So you can adjust this, rotate it, turn it around, do whatever you want to with this, and it'll stay exactly where you leave it, in front of your camera lens. I feel like I'm not selling this very well. Let me just show you what I mean real quick. 1 second. So now, up at the top on the left, you can see my camera. And this is the camera that I use for almost every photo shoot that I take. I'm going to attach the Lensbaby lens to the front of the camera. As you can see, I'm doing it in real time. That's the magic of this sort of zoom manufacturing. And now that it's attached, I can take this wand, which I was using just a second ago, and just click it into place. Like that. And right away, you start to get some interesting effects on the camera, what's coming out of the camera. You can rotate it to get more or less. You can move it closer to the lens or further away. You can have it angled so it's just bringing in light or just bringing in reflections. There's all kinds of possibilities for what you can do with this. Now, as you can see, my hand right here, almost just under my chin, you can barely even see it in the shot. It's completely obscured. This can be a great compositional device for when you really want to avoid showing part of the scene in front of you. That's not the only thing that they make, though. They also make this guy, which is sort of this plasticky gel. It's really interesting. When you look through it, it's blue. But when light is reflected off of it, it's kind of this orange gold color, which is really an odd thing. I don't know how they do that. I've never seen that effect before. So let me click that in there too. And you can kind of see that now I can tint the top blue if I want to. Or just by rotating it, just barely put a little bit of haze at the very top. So you can play with that. You can do colors. You can do crystals. You can do all kinds of things. One of my favorites, personally, is this guy, which doesn't look like much. When you just look at it, it just looks like a plain piece of film. It kind of fades things a little bit, so lowers the contrast of the final shot. Not in a very interesting way. However, When you put it in front of your camera, and I'll go ahead and put that right there. And there, you see how it gets kind of hazy a little bit. And then when light comes through it, kind of like this. Let me find the right angle. Kind of like this right here. As you can see, it's very much, it brings out this flare of just crazy rainbow action. And this, I'm just using a regular flashlight, as you can see here. So there's just one point of light coming on, which is why there's only one streak of rainbow happening in the diffraction field. But what if you use something with more than one light? What if you use this little LED source? Well, clearly, right away, you get all kinds of interesting effects. You can hold this just off camera and pitch all kinds of crazy light effects into wherever you want. And clearly, as you rotate it, as you move it around, it gets more and less intense. This is on the lowest light setting, so I can turn it way up and just blow it completely out. But you can see how just combining these things in different ways, just rotating things ever so slightly, you can start to get some very, very interesting possibilities coming through. So in conclusion, if you're looking to take your pictures to a more interesting, a more colorful place, or if all you want to do is obscure part of the frame with some kind of colorful blur or reflection, consider the Lensbaby Omnicolor correction system and breathe some color back into your photos.